Okay, so I want to make this shorter than the other video was because it took me a while to actually upload it. All right, so I'm going to talk about what it is conservatives get wrong, and these are typical conservative stances. I don't want to straw man people. I'm just talking about what basic conservative ideas are that are complete crap. So the first one is that the left is anti-free speech. This just straight up isn't true. Okay, a couple years ago, Bernie Sanders defended Ann Coulter's right to speak on a college campus at Berkeley against protesters. Okay, that's a pretty left-wing person, and if people being free speech is conservative, then I guess Bernie Sanders is conservative. And plenty of other people are for free speech. Destiny's for free speech. Kyle Kliske from Secular Talk is for free speech. David Pakman's for free speech. ContraPoints is for free speech. Faraday Speaks is for free speech. Tons of people on the left are for free speech. There's like a fraction who aren't, and the same can be said about people on the right. Another one, doxing. Doxing is a problem I've seen a little bit on the left, and it's definitely a problem on the right that still continues. Okay, doxing is when you get somebody's name and their address or whatever, phone number, things like this, and you make it public, and you can present this to the public. You can present it to employers, have people fired, kicked out of their homes, bank accounts shut down, things like this. Okay, this is definitely a problem that's on the right, and to a small degree is a problem on the left. But start talking about right-wing people, that would have to be like Candace Owens with her old website, which everybody had talked about before, and it seems like some people just move on and try to say, oh, that's not what it was. Her website was a doxing site. Laura Loomer was responsible for that kid that was involved in the Parkland shooting, the only conservative kid who got like a little bit of airtime on Fox and on PragerU. She doxed him for text messages that he had said years ago before this shooting took place, and he was like saying the N-word a bunch of times and made it so that he couldn't get into Harvard. So that's another example. Ben Shapiro has said in the past before that we need to. He's pretty much embraced doxing, saying something along the lines of we need to out racist, and we need to out them and hurt their careers and things like this. Okay, and I don't think Ben Shapiro wants racist people on welfare. I don't know what he wants to do with them, but I think having them on, it's bad that there are racist people out there, but they're either going to be on welfare or they're going to be working. So you pick, Ben. Another one, trying to claim for small government, but then having big government policies like banning of porn, banning of e-cigs, banning of drugs. These are clearly not small government policies, and yet they're branded small government. Another thing is, conservatives talk about tax cuts, flat tax, and things like this. I don't really think that conservatives are really fiscally conservative as a general rule. It seems that you could say they're more fiscally conservative than progressives are, for sure. But in a lot of areas, I would say conservatives are just not fiscally conservative. And what I mean by that, increased spending on the military, spending on Israel, things like this. These are not putting money into your pockets. And another thing that's kind of interesting, side note, I know that Steven Crowder has spoken out against veganism before. Fun fact, a vegan diet is less expensive than a non-vegan diet. Talk about a whole foods plant-based vegan diet. There's plenty of research on this, and I'll even link it in the description. But vegans and vegetarians save more money on food every month than non-vegans and non-vegetarians. So if you consider yourself fiscally conservative, you think you would be promoting that to some extent because you're putting money into somebody else's pocket, just like with tax cuts, right? But no. Okay. Another thing. A lot of these people just kind of are in an echo chamber and go on one another's shows, saying a lot of the same things, a lot of things that are not true. You've got somebody like Computing Forever who has gone like a full 360. I don't know what the hell he is now. I think by the end of the year he'll probably be an alt-writer. But now he is, he's a Christian nationalist, and I'm not really hearing anybody talk out about Christian nationalists. The same can be said about Lauren Chen. She's also a Christian nationalist, and I'm not hearing Crowder or PragerU or any right-wingers, denounce Christian nationalism. And I know that Computing Forever has now said that he does not support birth control anymore. So he is now against abortion and he is against birth control. I think you can be against one. I think being against both is foolish and it's not practical. I would like to hear right wingers debunk these claims. It's because it seems like it's a return to the past where you had a lot of Christians and Catholic conservatives who were in favor, or sorry, who opposed birth control and opposed abortion. I think opposing one makes sense. Opposing both doesn't make any sense. A name calling on the right, calling people anti-Semitic who are not. Anybody who criticizes Israel is automatically branded an anti-Semite. They can't seem to remember history very well. You remember Christopher Hitchens, he criticized Israel, Zionism, and anti-Semitism. You can criticize all three just fine. I do so, and I wish that more people did it. The immigration, let's see. A lot of conservatives say, the left is for open borders. I think that's probably a small fraction. You want to know what people's views are on immigration, look them up. I was surprised to hear what David Pakman had to say on immigration, but I still thought it was good information out there. Even when I think he got a couple things wrong, but his views on immigration and what happens if we actually stop illegal immigration as much as possible. This is going to have some negative effects to our economy with ICE and with police. And he made the analogy about what happens when people stop speeding and speeding tickets and things like that. I would really like to hear a conversation about immigration with David Pakman and somebody like Ben Shapiro, or any conservative really who has strong views, like Ann Coulter and David Pakman sitting down to talk about illegal immigration would be interesting and entertaining for me. I don't know that it's going to happen, but I would find it entertaining. And another thing, the conservatives tend to do this a lot too, is they work backwards from whatever their conclusion is, and then they instead of having an open mind on things, they work backwards, and then they what Kyle Kalinske has said is they square peg round hole things, so making things fit that don't fit to push a narrative, and that's called the right wing propaganda, and it's called left wing propaganda when left wingers do it. Grifting. I gotta talk about grifting. Okay, so many people on the right are grifters, and they never get called out by conservatives. You want to hear about grifting, you have to go on left-wing channels and find out what a grifter is. Get to know a grifter. Great series. Check those out. Grifters are people who started off left-wing, and then it's pretty clear that they're becoming conservatives, and it's so obvious what their grift is. It's changing. It's based on money and things. It's not based on more research on information things. And now they're this picture perfect conservative type figure. And this is something that seems to only happen going from left wing to right wing. It doesn't seem to happen in the other direction because left wingers catch on pretty quick. I think that's everything.